Happy Wednesday. I'm going to say Wednesday. We're recording this on Tuesday, but we're going to say Wednesday because
Close enough.
yeah, I'm going to get this uploaded probably around midnight on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Oh, my hair is a mess, but uh most people actually watch us, Andrew. I thought we had faces for radio, but we get more views than we get listens, which is interesting. But hello and welcome, episode 4, Drinking Champagne. We're gonna be talking BC here. Andrew, as usual, you're just like an idea machine. And you messaged me earlier this week with just like a great idea for the show where we're kind of going to look at each day. We're going to give a best bet, a long shot, and a bold prediction on Friday and Saturday. And I feel like we covered, we did this individually, right? We did this on our own, didn't talk to each other until maybe about 5 minutes before the show. And I feel like we're going to cover a lot of the races here. I'm actually really surprised that we don't. I think we agree in a lot of things, but we didn't pick the same things, I think, for every race. So I think it's going to be a great talk.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And look, the Breeders' Cup is always a lot of fun for hardcore horse players. It's Christmas morning for us. You've got 14 Breeders' Cup races, plus several undercards with some really fun races that I'm honestly still taking a look at. It's a really cool couple of days of racing. There are opportunities everywhere. And the one thing that I will stress before we go forward, and one of the reasons why I wanted to go with this sort of a format, when you're playing the Breeders' Cup, it's a 2-day event. It's a gambling smorgasbord. Be smart. Pick your spots. You do not have to bet every race every day of the 2 Breeders' Cup races. If you're looking at playing a pick 4 or a pick 5 and you say, oh my goodness, I'm going to need to use 8 horses here. I'm going to need to use 6 horses here, whatever. Find other spots. There are ADW people out there that want to come through the screen and wring my neck for this. You don't have to play every race. Yeah.
No, you play every race. Do not listen to Andrew. Play every pick 5. Play every. No. Although
you can afford to play every pick 5 after the week that you had last week. Do you have an applause button on there?
I do have an applause
Hit the button.
There we go. Yeah, thank you. I know you said to take a victory lap. Yeah, that was a hit of a lifetime. Well, let's not say lifetime, but it was definitely the hit of the year. And it put me very well into the black. So big shout out to you, Andrew, because honestly, I don't know if I would have capped the sequence if we didn't do it for the show and it was your idea. So I'm glad the shirt I sent you, is paying dividends. And secondly, that last race we talked about, we went back and forth, and you told me like, hey, like don't let this horse beat you. Like you like this horse, don't let him beat you because it sounds like you're just not using him because he's going to be the favorite. And sure enough, that the other horse I liked in that first leg scratched, and so I had little Andrew over here just like yelling at me, and I was like, all right, I'm going to use him. And not only did I use him as a B, I used him as an A. So I cashed my ticket 2 times, which doubled my payout. So it was awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for all the great messages I got. I collected some more followers. I mean, it's funny because I'm not a huge ticket guy. I'm not a huge, and I know, Andrew, you got the pink sheet right behind you, so you've been in the public eye as a handicapper much longer than I have. I'm very much if I do my homework ahead of time, which for big days I do, I construct my tickets when I wake up, when I see scratches, and a lot of it is very much like, how am I feeling that day? How much do I feel like putting into the sequence? So there could be certain key scratches, maybe a favorite you're against scratches, and now all of a sudden it's like you're on the chalk and you kind of got to reconfigure a little bit. But luckily for me, with the exception of that first race with that one scratch, the ticket I posted is the ticket I played, and it hit. So
proud of you, man.
It's never going to happen again. Sorry. So let's not get any kind of let's not get used to it, right? But yes, I probably will be playing every single pick five. To your point, this weekend.
Well, it's
Um,
forgivable because you're going to be there. And if you're going
yep.
to be there, I understand it. But if you're firing from home, just remember that sometimes discretion's the better part of valor. And while it's okay to have those strong opinions and lean on those strong opinions, you don't want to look back after a Breeders' Cup and go, okay, this strong opinion was right. This strong opinion was right. This strong opinion was right. Wait, why am I down $50? Pick your spots, set the bar, clear the bar. You're going to be better off for it. Don't wager differently just because it's the Breeders' Cup. If you're a successful horse player out there, chances are you're not playing every race. Find your strong opinions, hammer them accordingly.
And for our new players, people who maybe have not played much, I'm going to tell you right now. I put most of my money, and I put most of my money through Naira Bets. That's just who I have the best relationship with. They give me rebates. And unfortunately, the our affiliate AM Wager, and we got a little AM Wager thing down here. They're not available in my state, so I can't use them. But clear as many bonuses as you get. Take advantages of bonuses, right? Hey, if you're normally a $20 or $30 a race better and you're betting to win, make sure you're on TVG or Twin Spires. Collect that money back special. Get your deposit match. AM Wagers got one. I think Naira Bets sent out a reload bonus today. So especially this time of year, you'll see the same thing during the Derby. Make sure you're checking those out. And make sure we also shout out Keep Pounding since we got this out here. Andrew pointing down to it. We will haven't I actually just talked to him a couple days ago. He said he likes what he's hearing from us. So big shout out to Stu and good luck in the BC this year. He will be on site playing, so hopefully we'll be able to grab dinner or something. But it's been just a crazy week, dealing with that. And the first thing I did, it was funny, Andrew, because I think last week we were talking about, hey, I'm going. I finally bit the bullet. I bought tickets. Well, I've since given those tickets away because I decided to pay up, and I'm no longer a man of the people. I'm gonna be sitting in the bougie seats with Caleb. So I'll be in the saddling paddock chalet, I think, or something. So I'll be one.
Josh, treat yourself.
Exactly, but I'll be milling around. I'll probably walk out to GA. I know I already talked with Caitlin Free, meeting up with her and meeting up with our friend Mike and Ed and other people out there. So if you guys are around, if you want to meet up, whatever, shoot me a message on Twitter if you see me out there, which is probably going to be hard, and not hard for me because I'm 6'3", but if you see me walking around, make sure to say hi. But let's get into it. Let's get into the Breeders' Cup. We got so much to get through here. We're going straight to Friday, and we're going to start with best bets here. Andrew, your best bet is going to be here in the Juvenile Phillies turf, 8-1. You like the 6. Be your best. Talk to me.
I do. So, first of all, fantastic betting race. Your likely favorite is number 10, Meditate. Meditate is 4-1 on the morning line. I think that comes down. I am against her. As the great Harvey Pack always said, never bet a horse as the favorite doing something for the first time. Meditate has been running 6 or 7 furlongs overseas, tries 2 turns for the first time, tries a mile for the first time, does so from the 10 hole. No thanks. So now that we've tossed the favorite, where do we go? Well, let's look at Be Your Best, who won 2 races at that place back here by a combined total of 7 lengths over the summer and did so very impressively. If you go back and rewatch that debut win, July 31st, she is far off the rail the entire race. You're watching and you're thinking, okay, Horacio de Paz doesn't win with a lot of first-time starters. This one just needs a race. Wait a minute. She just swept through by the field turning for home, and now she's pulling away powerfully. She wins by 3 1/4. She comes back in the PG Johnson, wins that very easily by 3 3/4. Now, on speed figures, those came back just okay. But, Josh, if you could do me a favor, highlight the half mile and 6 furlong times for me, please. You see 49 and change. You see 114 and change and 115. Horses are not supposed to close into those fractions. She did. Then you look at the Miss Grillo, and the Miss Grillo was contested at Aqueduct, track abbreviation BAQ. It should be BOG for bog. They should not have been running those races. And if you watch, it's a throwout for everybody. That track went beyond muddy, it went beyond yielding. It was incredibly waterlogged. And I think you take that race with a grain of salt, which is a little bit weird considering the top three finishers from that race come back here. And I think all three are not without chances. But I most prefer Be Your Best, going back to those 2 races at Saratoga, getting a firm turf course. If she runs the way I think she can run and gets the pace I think she can get, I think she's going to be very, very, very tough to hold off. And I think she wins the Juvenile Fillies turf at a pretty nice price. 8-1 on the morning line. And Josh, I think we're going to get it.
Yeah, I had a. So this was one of the races I did look for my best bet in, and I couldn't, in good conscience, make the horse in this race that I like a best bet because I am going to use other short prices along with it. I do like the 5 Pleasant Passage at 12-1. Won that race, that BOG. I, for some reason, I thought you were going to say DOG, and then I thought it was going to be like a Snoop Dogg reference. I don't know where you were going there.
It was a letter joke, not a dog joke. Adjust your scorecards accordingly if you're playing the official on the wrong lead home game.
But I do like the 5 Pleasant Passage here, and is probably my second choice in this race. My top choice in this race was actually, I was going to almost say the 10, but that was wrong. The 12 Midnight Mile. I really like this horse coming in off of 2 wins, coming in with good form. You get Wayne Lorden on board. He sees fit to ship over. Hasn't ridden this horse yet, but this horse, if you kind of go back and watch the last replay, found a little bit of trouble, but still was able to get free and just kind of burst through. So I really like the 12 here, Midnight Mile. So that I was between those 2 as my top choice in this race. I think the 12 is where I leaned, but then I was like, how am I going to make this my best bet when I'm going to use 2 horses? So I did pick a race where I am going to single, and that's going to be the Juvenile Turf Sprint. And I'm going to be singling this to Love Reigns. Wesley Ward, Irad Ortiz Jr., is 2 for 2 here in the States, shipped over to Ascot at 5 furlongs down the straight, and just came up short there. And I think there's a lot to say with these young 2-year-old turf sprinters when they go across and they come back. Some of them just maybe like the turn, or maybe they just have an advantage where they keep that turn speed where other horses just don't, right? Our 5, 6 furlong sprints here are not down the straight. They're down. They have a turn. So sometimes you got to downgrade horses coming over who are going around the turn for the first time. So Wesley knows what he's doing. 2-year-old turf sprinter. I mean, this is like his bread and butter outside of 3-year-old turf sprinters and 4-year-old turf sprinters and 5-year-old turf sprinters. I think Love Reigns here is going to sit in an excellent spot. 4-1, I think, is a fair price. You're probably going to get near that price, 7-2, 4-1, maybe a little bit higher, depending on what happens with the favorite. I think is the current favorite on the outside, unless I misread. 7-2 on the Platinum Queen. So we'll see how much money this horse takes. Wesley does have the hometown behind him. So, but I think I'm just going to single the 2 Love Reigns here and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, when I mentioned being judicious, this was the race I had in mind, because I could see any number of 6, 7, 8 of these horses finding ways to win the Juvenile Turf Sprint. It is a fascinating betting race, and the one thing that I will tell you, watch the tote board. There are 2 horses here that I think might come down significantly from their morning line price. Number 10, Tyler's Tribe, heck of a story. If you haven't heard of Tyler's Tribe, look it up. It's a fantastic story, tugs at the heartstrings, And as a result, that horse is going to take all of the sentimental money on Breeders' Cup Day. Do I think that's going to be a substantial swing? No, but that's the difference between 15 to 1, 8 to 1, 10 to 1. Also, I think 6 to 1 is not going to last on number 11 Speedboat Beach, trained by Bob Baffert, 2 for 2, even with the outside post being a killer at Keeneland. This is a horse that's very, very fast. Look at that 103 speed figure over there from September 10th at Del Mar. I think that horse comes down, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if that one's the favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if Love Reigns is the favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if the Far Outside horse is the favorite. It's a really fun betting race, and if you've got a strong opinion there, more power to you. I think that's a bold single, and I think if you get that single home in those multi-race exotics, it's going to pay far better than that 4 to 1 morning line price.
All right, let's move on to your long shot pick of the day here, which is going to be in the juvenile turf. You like the 5 Battle of Normandy.
Yeah. Yes, that's race number 10 on the program, and I'm going to go into a little bit of a rant here. Why is the juvenile turf the main event? I don't understand it. I feel like somebody might have put a reason out there last year, but it got totally lost when the Modern Games fiasco happened. Please, for the love of God, never let that happen again. In Jesus' name, amen. That Battle of Normandy. 20 to 1 on the morning line. And I like this horse for a lot of the same reasons that I like Be Your Best. Belmont Aqueduct, Bog, total throwout, 7th beaten 10 lengths. There's no way that horse was going to close ground over that surface. To me, you draw a big old line right through that race, and what are you left with? You're left with 2 races at Saratoga where this 2-year-old colt trained by Shug McGahee, who doesn't usually have his 2-year-olds ready to rock right away, closed, won impressively first time out, was second behind a ridiculous long shot. They got a perfect trip in the with anticipation. I think Battle of Normandy gets the pace he needs, and I love the rider upgrade. No disrespect to Kendrick Carmouche, who's a very good rider. Jose Lizcano has for years been one of the most underrated turf riders, not just in New York, in the country. And you're telling me that horse is going to be 20 to 1? Sign me up. Battle of Normandy is in no way a single. I think I'm Very Busy has a lot of talent. Silver Knot from the Charles Appleby barn is going to take a lot of money as well, and justifiably so. But Battle of Normandy is an A on my tickets, and I think he's got a live shot, especially if they wind up going a little bit too quick early on.
Since we're on this race already, I'm just going to skip ahead to my bold prediction, which is an American horse not trained by Chad Brown wins a juvenile turf. And this is kind of like it could be. But this is kind of like a double whammy, right? Because an American horse, I think, in of itself in this race, where I think the 2 Europeans loom very large in this race. And then it's not going to be the Chad Brown horse. Like, right? That's the other logical, right? I think this horse on the morning line is a more square price than I think even the Chad Brown horse is. And my top pick in this race is actually the 6, and the winner is for Joel Rosario and Wayne Catalano. You see Flavian Pratt jumps off, and I think he goes to the Chad Brown mount, Chad Brown horse, the 8. I'm Very Busy, and actually, yeah, the I'm Very Busy is a shorter price than, and the winner is at 9 to 2. But you get Joel Rosario aboard, and you got a dead closer. I mean, that's a match made in heaven, right? So Joel's going to go ahead. He's going to sit off this pace, and he's going to go ahead and he's going to try and close into this thing. That was the winning move in the Bourbon. In the with anticipation, I don't know what happened. I don't know if Flavian just waited too long to move, but it looked like kind of set off the pace and just didn't make up any ground. But that Bourbon was very impressive. I think this horse has got 2 wins on the Keeneland turf surface, and I think that's always a positive going into the wherever the Breeders' Cup is being held. So, and the winner is 5 to 1. I think that's going to be a square price. You get Joel Rosario aboard, who's been winning at a crazy clip at Keeneland. I think this is just kind of the right horse, right jockey, right run style, and I think everything's just going to kind of line up here for and the winner is.
I can see that. My concern is the Bourbon totally fell apart. You see 22-1 for the opening quarter, 45-4 for the half. Don't get me wrong, there is some speed signed on, but that race fell apart absolutely perfectly for And the Winner Is. And Flavian Pratt rode a great race that day. And the Winner Is broke from the 12 hole. You don't see many horses win at Keeneland from the far outside. You need a perfect ride to do that, and that's precisely what And the Winner Is got. And I just don't love betting horses back off of perfect trip wins. Having said that, forward progression and the Winner Is absolutely logical. I see where you're going there, but I'll take the horse that beat And the Winner Is 2 starts back in the With Anticipation, even though And the Winner Is probably didn't get that one's ideal trip on that particular afternoon.
All right, I guess I'm going to go double because we didn't talk about my long shot pick here. And that's going to be in race 7 here, the Juvenile Fillies. And I like the 12 here atomically. Or sorry, the 8. Why did I write the 12? Oh, because he was 12-1. Ha ha ha. Sorry.
Okay. Easy mix up.
Let's fix that real quick. The 8 atomically. First time Todd Pletcher, as I believe you pointed out, Andrew. And this is one of those things where I kind of looked back at the pace figures on this horse's races. And something I do, especially with these Brisnet PPs, is I kind of try and look at the pace figures for these horses and kind of use those to kind of match up. Hey, how do these compare to other horses? Right, the speed figure I think and tells the tale in some places, but I think the pace figures tell the tale for this one. I think that this is definitely a horse that can be anywhere, right? I think this is definitely kind of a push button horse. I know the horse is only one really being on the lead at first call, but kind of blew the start last time, was kind of hurried up and still ended up winning by over 6 lengths. I mean, really just pulled away impressively. I know it was a restricted race. It wasn't, it wasn't a graded stakes by any means, but still, missing the break on that Gulfstream dirt is usually a killer. So the fact that this horse was able to hustle up, still get there, get clear, and just drove and won by open lengths, and is now moving to Todd Pletcher's barn. Sign me up. 12-1. I feel like this horse has got just as much of a shot in this race as any other horse. I think that my second choice in this race is the 7 Chop Chop, and I think it's going to be a much shorter price. And I kind of like Chop Chop for similar reasons. I feel like Chop Chop has done really well close up, and I think just missed last time, closing from the clouds. So this is a horse that's passed other horses, which is something you always like to see in 2-year-old races. But I'm getting 3 times the price on Atomically. So sign me up for the 8 here, Atomically, in the Juvenile Fillies at 12-1.
I think this is a fascinating betting race because I do not like the morning line favorite. Number 10, Chocolate Gelato, is a horse I saw run twice at Saratoga. Absolutely no excuse in the debut. Did come back, ran well to break the maiden by 8. Didn't beat a lot in that particular occasion. Comes back and, yes, wins the Frisette over that boggy track at Aqueduct that this horse was bred to love by Practical Joke out of a Candy Ride mare. That's mud top and bottom. 7-2, no thanks, especially from that far outside post. I see where you're going with Atomically. You mentioned Chop Chop. That is my top selection. I know a lot of people are on Chop Chop. I wouldn't be surprised if Chop Chop went off the favorite off of that last race. The other one that I'm interested in is number 2, You're My Girl, who first time out at Saratoga freaked, won by nearly 15 lengths. Granted, that was against New York breds. They saw fit to run her in the Grade 1 Frisette next time out. Wasn't disgraced, second beaten a length. And again, that boggy track, that this horse moved forward. I can't ask for much more than that. I'm not going to hold the fact that the horse didn't win against her. She's been working well for John Terranova, who is 22% on the year. And I think You're My Girl has a pedigree that indicates she'll like this 2-turn route of ground. By overanalyze out of an Indian Charlie mare. There's distance there. 10-1 on the morning line. That one I think is interesting as an A. There's another one I got to throw at least a little bit of a shout out to, and it's number 1 Vegas Magic, who won the biggest race at the Alameda County Fair in Pleasanton. The Everett Nevin came flying from out of the clouds, and honestly, toss the Del Mar Debutante and let me know what you're left with. Repeated the race 2 back with a suicidal pace in front of her. There's every chance this horse clunks up for a piece of it. Jose Ortiz sees fit to ride. I wouldn't be shocked if that one winds up clunking up for 3rd or 4th at a massive number. And we've seen Doug O'Neill do this in 2-year-old races. Remember, he had a little horse named Hot Rod Charlie that darn near won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile at 90-1.
Awesome. Let's move on to your bold prediction here, which is in the Juvenile. Cave Rock wins the Juvenile by more lengths than Flightline wins the Classic.
Yeah, I'm really going out on a limb with this one. Cave Rock is very good at being a racehorse. Those speed figures over there, 104, 105, 107. This is not a bad field. Cave Rock towers over it. I think we're seeing a horse that's going to be a force to be reckoned with, not just on Friday, but moving forward going into those Triple Crown races. Look at that pedigree. By Arrogate out of a Bellamy Road mare. That's distance, top and bottom. This is a horse that has handled everything thrown at it to this point with aplomb, going 6.5 furlongs and 1:15.4 in the debut, winning the Del Mar Futurity by open lengths, and then wiring the field in the American Pharoah. He would need to regress, and others would need to improve considerably in order for Cave Rock to lose the Juvenile. I don't think that's happening. I think we see a romp on Friday afternoon, and I think we see him win by more lengths than Flightline the following day.
I really have nothing else to add in this race. I've taken a glance at it, and I keep just seeing those gaudy numbers and just trying to imagine other things. And like the only other horse that's even been close is Forte and Royal National Treasure too, but that was in the 2nd place finish to Cave Rock. So I just don't see any way around Cave Rock yet. Maybe, after some more bourbon and a couple more passes through it, I'll see something else. But yeah, I think you explained it perfectly.
If I may throw in a bomb for underneath, number 8, Lost Ark, had excuses in the Breeders' Futurity. Did not break well, checked a couple of times. To me, you draw a line right through that race. Won the debut at Belmont by 5.5, won the Sapling by 7.5. Understand that he didn't beat a whole lot in both of those instances, but you're telling me you're going to get Todd Pletcher and Luis Saez at 20-1 on the morning line and drifting up? I'll at least have a $2 ice cold exacta using Cave Rock on top of that one. See what that pays.
Awesome. And for more on Friday's card, we'll be live tonight, Wednesday, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. We'll be talking, going through deeper with the card. So we'll definitely have more on that. But for now, let's move over to Saturday. And we're gonna do the same thing all over again here. Your best bet. You're looking at the Dirt Mile here.
No. I'm not looking at the Dirt Mile. I'm looking at the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Gotta work.
Oh, the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Mile. Okay.
So I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah, this field is very interesting, and I don't mean that in a condescending way. Cody's Wish is 5-2. Gunite is 7-2 on the morning line. Those two horses are stretching out to 2 turns. And this is not a bad field. I think that's a negative, at least for purposes of this particular race. If this was a 1-turn mile, I would like both much, much more. Instead, I like the horse that's right in between them. That's number 6, Laurel River, trained by that man again, Bob Baffert.
Show him the shirt.
Yeah. This not in any way related to Baffert, the trainer. This was a free shirt that I got at the Sigma Americas Conference in Toronto in June. Swag at the booths. It's your friend. And this is a free shirt that allows me to not do laundry for a day. So that's going to get taken out of context on horse racing Twitter, I'm sure. But Laurel River comes in off of a win in the Pat O'Brien Grade 2 stakes race. The runner-up is American Theorem, who I think isn't without an underneath chance in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. That day's third-place finisher, Senor Buscador, came right back to win the ACAC, is also in this particular race. Look at the workouts. This horse is primed. You look at a 6 furlong work, 112-1, 5 furlongs in 59-2, 5 furlongs in a minute, 6 furlongs in 112-2. This is a classic Bob Baffert work tab. You get a Rod Ortiz Jr., you're not going to get a better rider on a big day. And I would also argue that the 7 furlongs he went last time out and won impressively may not be his best distance. He's gone 2 turns twice. He's won both times. And you're telling me this horse is not going to be favored in this particular spot? Sign me up. Laurel River is a lone A for me in the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
Yeah, I looked at this race and I couldn't get a real good grasp on it yet. This is one that's going to definitely take some more time from me to kind of look at it, break it down. Honestly, my eyes kind of led to Cyberknife in this spot. I thought I was going to want somebody to be coming off the pace. Looking at the Brisnet kind of pace setup, you got 2 E8s, you got 2 EP8s, you got an EP6. When I see a lot of those high numbers, that just kind of puts my eyes to look at the closers first. And I think Cyberknife is just that grinding off the pace type horse. And the pace figures look pretty good. I think they fit. I think that run style fits. So I kind of really like Cyberknife in this spot, but I got some time still to kind of work through the card and figure out. But upon first pass, upon looking at the pace scenario, Cyberknife would probably be where if you needed me to bet now, that's where my money would go.
I think Cyberknife maybe wants a little bit longer. You mentioned that grinding style. I understand why they went in the dirt mile. You don't want to tackle Flightline unless you absolutely have to. More on him later. That's called foreshadowing, kids. But I feel like this mile distance might just be a little bit short for him still. Nice horse, won 2 grade 1s earlier in the year. You're getting 9-2. There are worse bets out there.
So let's move on to my best bet here. And mine is going to be in the Distaff, race 9. And that's going to be Clairiere, the 4. Steve Asmussen, Stone Street Stables. You get Joel Rosario aboard. And similar to the Dirt Mile, I look at this race and I look at these the Kieran speed points. I look at the run styles, and I want somebody coming from off of it. And I think the best to come from deep off of it is going to be Clairiere. Now, I'm not going to tell you I won't have Malathot in any tickets, because I think I told Caleb yesterday that I looked at the PPs and a lot of my day is going to run through Malathot. And then Caleb says, what about Clairiere? And I took a closer look and I was like, you know what, Caleb? What about Clairiere? I think I'm in. So, yeah, I think Clairiere is going to get most of my money in this spot. I will have some tickets with Malathot on it. And to kind of, I guess, since we're on this race, we'll go to your bold prediction, which matches up with what I'm saying here, is that Nest loses the Distaff and may not even run second.
Yes, I like Nest. Nest is your champion 3-year-old filly, and it's not particularly close. She's won several grade 1 races, was second to Secret Oath when that one was going really well. If you look at the figures, she has a chance. She does not tower over this field. She will be bet like she towers over this field, and that makes her an underlay. She won quite possibly the worst renewal of the Beldame in my lifetime last time out. That field underneath her, not good. It more so resembled an optional claimer than a grade 2 stakes race. She tackles high quality, older opposition, and she's going to be 9-5 in a race that doesn't really set up for her, a race where there's a lot of early speed. And yeah, maybe she's stalking, but she's going to have to work in order to maintain that position behind the likes of Society and Search Results and a couple of bigger prices on the inside that I also think are going to go early. I think it sets up for the Malathat Clariere combo that you mentioned. And those are the two that I'm going to be running a lot of my action through. So if you're right, chances are I make some money as well. Nest is a high quality horse. Can't wait to see what she does as a 4-year-old. In this spot, though, against a couple of horses that I feel we've sort of been underselling as far as historical significance goes, I think she's up against it. You look at Malathat, who you mentioned. If she wins the Breeders' Cup Distaff, all of a sudden she's 10 for 14 with 6 Grade 1 wins, career earnings of about $4 million, and she's probably the champion older female this year. That's a Hall of Fame caliber resume right there. It's a good group. It should not have a big favorite. Nest will be a big favorite, and my bold prediction is she gets beat.
Yeah, I'm very much against Nest. I'm very worried that I think other people are very much against Nest. So
Sorry.
it's going to be interesting. I don't know what the board's going to look like in this one. Normally, I feel like I have at least a decent grasp, but everybody I've talked to is against Nest. But somebody's got to be betting Nest, right? I do want to give a kind of I guess, a honorable mention to the 3 Secret Oath. I think that this is definitely a horse that can hit the board. This is the right run style. It is going to get pace in front to close. I just think that Malathat and Clariere are just a notch above Secret Oath at this time. This is another one similar to how you said with Nest. I'm interested to see what happens with Secret Oath at 4 as she gets older, because she's got that closing run style that everybody loves to watch. Everybody loves to root home a closer, and then just throw their tickets down. Damn it, Joelle, why didn't you move earlier? But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with Secret Oath as she kind of progresses. I don't really give her much of a shot in here. I mean, she's going to have to run back to her Kentucky Oaks and going to need a lot of people not to show up, I think, in order to win this race. But hey, crazier things have happened. This race, the filly and mare sprint, both always set up for upsets. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that you and I are kind of in the same, see this race kind of in the same way. But one race that we definitely do not see the same way is going to be where you have your long shot, and that's in the Breeders' Cup Sprint here. You got the 3-horse Obesos as your top pick here in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. As I click around the PPs trying to find it, there we go, race 7. I don't know how you got here, so please go ahead.
A little bit of a note before we start. Jackie's Warrior is a likely winner. Having said that, there is speed in this race. Jackie's Warrior will be on the lead, but I don't think he'll be alone. Willie Boy is going to be up front. Flash of Mischief, who ships in for Carl Broberg after 2 races at Remington, that horse's only chance is to go early. And I feel like that's going to at least keep Jackie's Warrior honest to where he's not comfortable. Could he still win? Absolutely. I am not saying that, oh my goodness, I'm going to throw Jackie's Warrior completely off my ticket. Toss that horse. No. But what I am saying is, isn't it possible Obesos has been a sprinter all along? Look at this horse's races. Back in December of 2020, wins a race at 5.5 furlongs by 5.5 lengths. Then comes right back, beats allowance foes by a little more than 2 lengths, earns a nice figure, winds up going on the Derby Trail, doesn't disgrace himself at all, runs 5th behind Medina Spirit, has a little bit of an issue after the Matt win. They put him away until this year, and he certainly needed some time between his races. They bring him back at 6 furlongs, and he winds up winning a race at Churchill, coming from off the pace in 109.3 in his first start in 6 months. That pace wasn't all that fast. You see 45.2 for the half. They were moving, but it's not like they were coming back to Obesos. He had to go get him. Second off the bench, attracts Tyler Gaffleone, comes in off a string of some pretty nice workouts at Churchill, those 2 4-furlong works for a barn that's hitting at 15% on the year. If Jackie's Warrior has to go a little faster than we think, maybe he wins. but I think Obesos is going to be the one doing the running late at a very, very, very big price. I just think he's been a sprinter all along.
I think you're right that Obesos is a sprinter, but I will say the one thing I kind of feel like I've noticed about Jackie's Warrior is if you look at Jackie's Warrior's losses, they tend to come at least on Brisnet, on races that Brisnet doesn't feel like are a fast pace. Um, so I actually think getting a little bit of pace pressure here is going to actually be good for Jackie's Warrior, because if you look back, Jackie's Warrior has gone 21 and 4, 44 to the half, and 1. Jackie's Warrior has gone 21 and 2, 43 and 4, and 1 by 7 1/4 lengths. I think Jackie's Warrior needs someone to push him, and I think Joel needs to get the horse out and be as aggressive as possible. I kind of feel like Jackie's Warrior is probably, with this, especially with the scratch of Jack Christopher. Jackie's Warrior is your most likely winner on the card. I feel like I've said that 2 years running in the Breeders' Cup, and I've yet to be right. So third time's a charm. Jackie's Warrior is your most likely winner on the card. Yes, I am aware Flightline is running in the last race on this day.
That's called foreshadowing, kids.
The last Breeders' Cup race. I forgot. There's the Delika get out race at the very end. Sorry, keep pounding. I don't want to, don't want to take the star power away from your girl there. Yeah, my long shot comes in the BC Mile, and that's going to be the 11 horse, the 3-year-old Annapolis. You do have quite a bit of star power in this race. You have a horse named Kinross, who I told Caleb I'd never heard of before, but apparently is really freaking good. Caleb has been just absolutely just foaming at the mouth, excited to talk about this horse. So I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about on Thursday about the 13 here, Kinross. But also the aforementioned Modern Games shows up here as well. And is going to be I think a second choice in this race at 7-2. And, we're just going to hope that if Modern Games crosses the line first and you have a bet on them, that you're going to be able to cash it. But, those two horses shipping in from Europe, you get Order of Australia showing up here as well. But my eyes kind of turn here to the 11, Annapolis. And this is just a case of, I think, a 3-year-old who has just progressively gotten better and better and better as the season has gone on. I was not really a believer of this horse middle of the year, finished second in the Penn Mile, finished second in that Saratoga Derby. We're like, all right, is this horse for real? And I think those last 2 races, the Saranac and the Turf Mile, have been very, very impressive. Has already beaten horses like Ivar, like Order of Australia, who are very, very nice horses. And it beat them, by a length and a half, which is pretty handily going a mile on the turf. So, I mean, why not Annapolis in this spot? He's already, like I said, has already beaten some of this group, has already beaten Older. And you get Irad Ortiz aboard, who knows how to ride this track. Horses already got a win over the surface, which is something, like I said, I always like to look for. So I'm going to take a shot with Annapolis here at 10-1.
I can't fault that, and I think I'd like Annapolis a little bit more with a better post. The 11 hole, for a horse that's got a little bit of speed, it's going to force Irad to make a decision. Do you go and try to clear most of the field, or do you take back and make one run? Annapolis doesn't need the lead. That's certainly a plus. Modern Games is my top selection in there. The other one, though, that I want to look at is another European runner, and that's number 3, Dream Loper. The race is 2 and 3 back. Definitely concerns, but those were going 1.25 miles, and I think that's just a little bit further than what Dream Loper really wants to do. You throw those 2 races out, and you look at the race this horse ran last time out at Longshot. won by more than 5 lengths in a Group 1 race over there. That's a serious effort with a 123 time form rating, which works out to about a 108, 110 Beyer speed figure. That horse was moving. Before that, you look at the May 29th, race at Longshot, won another Group 1, going a mile and an eighth by 2 lengths. I just think a mile and a quarter was too far. They realized it. They cut this horse back, and now he comes in to face a good, not great group of American horses, along with Modern Games, who, again, if you have him and this horse wins, I really hope you get a chance to cash a ticket. That was inexcusable even as it was happening. And I got to tell you, the fact that a year later, we as horse players have seen and heard nothing from the people responsible as to whether or not this will ever happen again and what steps are being taken on big Breeders' Cup days. Come on, people. This is why you employ crisis communications, folks. It blows my mind, but that's horse racing for you. I'm 3 and 4 as A's, 6 and 8 as B's there. I think Ivar may well get a setup to come running. And I also think Regal Glory is a nice, consistent horse that may well look into a perfect stalking trip over a track where she's run first or second in 4 or 5 local starts. I see where you're going with Annapolis. The post is a genuine question for me.
Horse racing has the best technology, doesn't it?
It does, yes. I mean, my goodness, we're talking about building a casino on Mars. That's one of Elon Musk's big things. And we can't time a horse race.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, but over the summer, they had a tote issue with the cross country pick 5, where I think a couple of tickets, it wasn't very many, but it was significant enough that some tickets got in after like 2 or 3 races went live or went final, and we have not seen the wager since. It's been months.
Yeah, it's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. But well, what are you gonna do? I mean, we can't time races. We can't measure distances. Gulfstream got called out for their run-ups being so inconsistent that it just changed everything to about. Like we've been overanalyzing everything as far as what matters. Let's get the basics right and just move forward.
If it was Woodbine, it would be a boot.
I love Woodbine. What a great track.
I've yet to be. Have you been there before?
Yes, I was there in June. I made my first trip there, wrote it up for playcanada.com. Wonderful, wonderful people up there. They run a first-class shop. That was a really fun day. Thoroughly enjoyed that. A lot of other people went on wine tasting tours or went to Niagara Falls. I went to the racetrack. Story of my life.
All right. So I guess it's time for my big bold prediction here.
Let everybody hide. I know what's coming here, and you're going to throw things at the screen. There it is. I'm hiding now.
Epicenter defeats Flightline to win the Breeders' Cup Classic. I'm going to be honest with you. I really wish I had some kind of great reasoning, right, to not want to just single Flightline and not, just not just jump in with the hype, be with everybody, the rah rah, shish boom ba, all that good stuff. I see a 3 to 5 horse, and I just need to get around it. And although the Beyer figures probably don't agree as much as the Brisnet figures, Flightline is fast. Flightline is very fast. There are other horses in this race who have run just as fast as some of Flightline's races. Obviously, I think if Flightline runs anywhere near that Pacific Classic, I will be dead in any wager that exists. Much to what you kind of said, Andrew. There are other opinions I have that are stronger elsewhere. So if Flightline loses or Flightline wins, by no means is there like absolutely no way I make money this weekend, right? I have other spots that I will pick. There's no way I cash the pick 5, but I'm taking a stand here against Flightline. I really wish I had just like this great eloquent reason. I mean, our friend Matthew has been doing a case against, whoever. And one of his episodes was a case against Flightline. Go watch that, because I'm sure he probably has this like great eloquent reason for why you should bet against Flightline. Mine 100% is the price. This horse is going to be 2 to 5, 1 to 5, 1 to 9. Who knows? Everyone and their mother is going to be betting Flightline. I'm just being contrarian here because I just I don't see any other. I don't have a strong opinion on any other very, very long prices where I feel like I can still connect with Flightline and still make the amount of money that I would want to make hitting a horse like Flightline. So I took who I think is the second best horse in this race, which is the 6 Epicenter. I think Epicenter has just improved every single start and has been snake bitten as well. Snake bitten in the Derby, snake bitten in the Preakness. I think that this horse is just rounding in the form, has peaked at the perfect time. I think Steve is going to have this horse cranked. And I just think that Flightline is not going to have it all his own way on the front end. Life is Good, I don't think, entered this race to just, sit there and not run his race. Life is Good has gone to the front in every single one of his races. If Todd, hold on, I'm going to go full screen for this. If Todd tells, and I'm trying to remember who the jock on Flightline is. Is it Irad?
Flightline.
Or not Flightline. Sorry, Life is Good. Irad. If Todd tells Irad, just let him go, I swear to God, I am going to be the most angry person on Twitter, because I need Life is Good to go. I need Flightline to go. I need Hot Rod Charlie to try and put some pressure on him. I mean, Olympiad, I don't care. Send them all. But I swear to God, if Flightline just goes out there, lopes on the front end, and no one challenges him, like, I lose, and I'm gonna be very upset. And yeah, there's Andrew. Andrew's putting his head up. You think that everyone's gonna be running for second, and they're just gonna let him go, don't you?
I know. I'm just gonna point something out. If everyone goes like a bat out of hell early, doesn't that set up for Rich Strike too?
I love Rich Strike in the spot. I'll be honest, Rich Strike.
Teasing. Look,
I know I am not teasing. This was a conversation I have with Caleb. I am not teasing. I am gonna have exactas and tries with Rich Strike in second and third, everywhere, because I think Rich Strike is the real deal. I think that Travers backed up. That Travers backed it up. He should have won the Lucas Classic. Like, I am all in. I think that Rich Strike is definitely got a shot to finish second or third in here. That might be the one way I make money with Flightline, is if I play exactas and tries and I key Rich Strike. That would be the only way I have Flightline in first.
Okay, I'm going to summarize everything for anybody that's still out there. My friend Josh, my partner on this show, the guy that hit for $13,000 last week, he hates money. This is my take on this. I understand not wanting to play Flightline at what is going to be a prohibitive price. They call it a prohibitive price for a reason. I understand that. I'm going to be going a little bit further than most here. I get that. If that's your attitude, pass the race. Or place something that ups your price on Flightline. Josh, I actually have a legitimate idea here. If you want to back up something in case Flightline turns out to be, as the At the Races spot with the voice of the one and only Matt Dinnerman has said, possibly one of the best horses since Secretariat, play some ice cold exactas with Flightline on top of Rich Strike. And I'm not even joking with you. I'm not even trying to pull your leg. I'm not trying to do anything there. That's how you get value out of Flightline in a single race mindset. If you like him, you find the horse underneath and you turn 3 to 5 into something that's a little bit more workable and something you can swallow. Flightline's going to be a single for me. I just think he's on another level. I respect Epicenter, love Epicenter. Have backed Epicenter every single time he ran, including the Jim Dandy and the Travers, when it sure seemed like there were a lot of very smart people that were waiting and lining up to bet against this horse at a short price. I like Olympiad a little bit too. I think the Whitney sort of darkens his form. I think the 1.25 miles has shown not to be a problem with that one. And I wouldn't be surprised if Olympiad winds up running second. I don't like Life is Good at all. I don't think he wants any part of 1.25 miles. I think he is going to go early, and I don't think he's going to be alone. I think he's going to be a significant underlay based on what his win chances actually are. No thanks on Taba. No thanks on Happy Center. No thanks on Hot Rod Charlie. No thanks on Rich Strike. I get where you're going. I think it's admirable that you're trying to find some value in the race. There are times where discretion is the better part of valor. I don't think Flightline loses.
I just hope that, on Friday when I'm putting in my pick 5 ticket, right, I stop and I think, man, maybe Andrew's right. And I include Flightline and I hit for another 13,000 like I did last week. That is what we call a reference.
Yes,
to last week's show.
Continuity. We're building this up. We're building this up. We're building this up. Trust me, you don't want to miss any of our weekly offerings. Like, comment, subscribe, do all of those really fun things that helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. On a serious note, though, the Breeders' Cup's a lot of fun. There are so many different ways in which you can look at these races, in which you can bet on these races and have some value doing so. Horses that would normally be very short prices in these stakes races throughout the year with 5 and 6 horse fields are all of a sudden going to be 8-1, 10-1, 12-1, 15-1. And that's where you wind up making your money on days like this. And you don't need to be right often. I was right one time last year with a strong opinion, and it was CC in the Filly and Mare Sprint, which anchored a pick 4, had a very nice win bet, and that wound up buying a pretty expensive dinner at LB Steak in San Ramon, California for my girlfriend and I. Hopefully we can replicate that. It's fun, but pick your spots. Pick your spots where you feel strongest about your opinions and to where if you're right, you wager accordingly so you wind up getting the maximum return on your investment. That's the pursuit of value. Be judicious, be smart. This is fun, man. I love the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, and we'll have more coverage. Like I said, we'll be live Wednesday night, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, and Thursday night, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. We'll be talking Friday and Saturday, respectively. Like I said, I'll be on site. I'm sure I will also do. Last time I went on track, I did kind of like a travel vlog. I'm going to do probably the same thing for this. Highlight some of the stuff that we check out in Lexington. I'll probably do some videos while I'm driving.
Don't do that. Don't drive off the road.
Not like that, but like when I'll drive, stop somewhere.
Roll. All of a sudden, it's just a champagne podcast, and there's nobody that listen to that.
That's very true.
There's a reason I'm not full time anymore. Come on.
No, I meant I would stop on the way and do something.
The stopping is the important part.
Goodness. Yeah, I'm gonna be like, yeah, hey, I'm just here driving, taking a selfie.
Trust me, I've seen far weirder.
But yeah, it'll be fun, and congratulations to Rich Strike for hitting the board in the Breeders' Cup Classic, much to Andrew's chagrin.
Hey, it's just one of those instances where I get why you're trying to look for value. I just disagree with the way you're going about it. But that's why we have this show.
Yep. But yeah, you can catch us at wrong_lead on Twitter. Andrew's at Andrew Champagne. I'm at Cherry Drank. Make sure you check out AM Wager if you guys looking for a new ADW, looking to get cash in on a bonus. Go ahead and take a look at that. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the streams. We'll be giving out some swag, and we'll be giving out a share into a pick group ticket that myself, Mark, and Caleb are going to put together. So tune in and maybe you win a share of our action for the weekend. So we'll catch you guys later.
Take it easy, everybody.